What's up, One Piece fans? It's your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys, as you guys can tell from the title of this video, a question that has been burning a hole in my brain ever since Thursday night, Friday morning sort of idea. Chapter 1044, right? Spoilers incoming if you haven't already read Chapter 1044. I think the entirety of the world, One Piece fans and non-One Piece fans alike, have read Chapter 1044, right? We can be realistic about that. But at the end of the day, this is the big question that I took away from this. A lot of people are making different theory videos and different discussions about different aspects of this chapter. But the big question to me, you know, the power of Nika and blah, 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 the power of the Hito Hito no Mi, you know, mythical zone variant, model Nika and stuff. But the big question that I had, and if you guys got to catch my live stream reaction and then the VC discussion afterwards, which is, you know, on my channel, then you guys will know that one of the big things that was brought up was the name. As you guys know from the title, why does Luffy not know the name of his devil fruit, right? Now, in the VC, I went out on with a 99.9% assurance policy based on the fact that we have been told and we have known for a very, very long time that the moment you eat a devil fruit, you know the name of that fruit. That was basically what everyone assumed this entire time. Most people did. Now, some people counter-argued this, that's not exactly, that's one way you could take the description in the SBS, and of course the SBS has multiple translations, so which one do you trust, which one do you not? And then, you know, there's just a lot of stuff in between. And you can't always trust the official translations either because Animal Kingdom Pirates is just a horrible goddamn name. So, you know, sometimes you have to take different translations into account. But this really throws a huge wrench into what many of the big One Piece YouTubers and myself are having a difficult time trying to figure this out. Now, there was a theory that came up in the VC. I forget who did it, but shout outs to them. And is at the end of the day, in the same way that the Gorosei in this chapter, in chapter 1044, what they say is another name. They don't say that they made up a name. They don't really state it that way. What they state is another name. It depends on the translation once again. There's different translations and stuff, but the way I took it was another name. The other name for the Gama Gama no Mi is the Hito Hito no Mi model, and they were trying to hide that name. So here's a couple of reasons and a couple of theories that went on in the VC, and here's the big one that I'm going to go with and that I like, is that the Hito Hito no Mi, in this chapter, 1044, we were stated that all zones, not just mythical zones, but all zone fruits have a will of their own. I did a great comparison, I think, to the One Ring from the Lord of the Rings. Showcased very well in Peter Jackson's trilogy as to how it's got its own like unique will, it's got its own voice, it's got its own ability to just slip off Isildur's finger and slip away from Gollum when it's trying to, you know, it can exert its own will to a sense within the confines of a ring. But yeah, of course a ring can slip off the finger, of course it can do that, and it can shrink and enlarge, and we saw there was limited capacity, but the One Ring has a will of its own. In the same way that Samurai Gandhi over here of the Gorosei, who, as he's been fan-favorited and nicknamed, he states that it's not impossible because it has evaded us for 800 years. This thing, the world government has been attempting to get their hands on the Hito Hito no Mi for 800 years and failed every single time. So that being said, if we can conclude that this thing works in the same rough idea as the One Ring, it has a will of its own, well, how did this thing evade the world government for 800 years then? Right? I'm sure there's many, many ways it's done this. Some people brought up the fact that we've seen certain, with the Devil Fruit Encyclopedia, when a Devil Fruit enters a fruit, it will change its shape and stuff. Some people say that's canon, some people say that's not canon, but the swirl pattern will remain the same. But maybe it changes its fruit. If it's a zone fruit, maybe it doesn't always look like the shape of the Gama Gama no Mi. Maybe sometimes it looks like a banana with the same swirl pattern, right? Or something like that. Once again, that's a possibility. It's a possibility where it's a zone fruit. With this new information of the zone fruit having a will of its own, and if it's actively trying to get away and hide from the world government, sort of a reverse the One Ring trying to get its ass back to Sauron, and in this case, this one trying to avoid Sauron like the plague, I could I could sort of see that. I could see like it can't change. It's sort of like a leopard can't change its spots necessarily, so it can't change its swirl pattern, but maybe it can change its color variation. Maybe it can change its actual, like the fruit that it chooses to inhabit. Maybe it doesn't actually always change into, you know, the melon shape or whatever, right? Very, very possible that that's the case. Here's the big one that I like, is that I still hold. And Teching 101 brought this up, and there was one of my big evidences for, well, this has always been the case. Teching himself said that he believed that when you bit from the SBS and stuff from a long time ago, he just made a video about Luffy's devil fruit. Definitely go check out that video. I really liked it because he answers a lot of the big questions burning holes in people's brains, is when you bite the fruit, you know the name. If zone fruits have a will of their own, and if this one is actively trying to hide from people finding out, once again, the Gomu Gomu no Mi is not necessarily a wrong name. It's just an alternative name, potentially. Or the zone fruit itself came up with this name to hide itself from the world. It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible that this devil fruit hid its own name from its own user. That when Luffy bit the fruit, it mentally told him, this is the Gomu Gomu no Mi, right? It's the rubber fruit. And it actively has been hiding its name throughout history as the Hito Hito no Mi model Nico. So, if that's the case, if the model Nika fruit has been hiding its name from its users, that's the best theory I can come up with. Like, as I said, there's a lot of potential here, but I'm just going to stand firm with what I said in the VC on that Thursday night, is that it is the reasoning we have always believed. Because another thing that would make no sense, and once again, Tekken brought this up when he brought up this point, and here's where I'm holding to this theory, is that it's tricking its own user to an extent, which is entirely possible because the zone fruits have a will of their own, is on the same basis that every single person, even samurai who do not understand what devil fruits are, still use the naming pattern. Why would samurai from Wano, who, once again, it's like, oh, I have the Hito Hito Jutsu. They call it Jutsus, but they all call it the exact same thing. The Bada Bada Jutsu. They refer to it as a jutsu because they don't understand what a devil fruit is, but they all seem to instinctively know. Like, why wouldn't, just out of curiosity, for example, let's use the bari bari, right? Let's use it. The barrier fruit. Sure, fine dandy. That's what it's called because people in the world are informed with that devil fruit encyclopedia. But Wano breaks this entirely. The naming patterns never change, whether you're an uninformed schmuck from the East Blue, an isolated country like Wano, or you're the biggest marine badass in the world with tons of libraries and information. Everyone, regardless of where they come from, all use the naming pattern for their devil fruit abilities. Not a single person in the story, now once again, I am not teching, I am not a one-piece Wikipedia onto myself, but at no point in the story have I ever heard anybody refer to their devil fruit as a not outside that naming scheme. I've never heard that. You know? The soul fruit, the fish fruit, every devil fruit has, regardless where they come from, regardless how they got it, regardless how they use it, they've all went to that naming pattern. So to go back to the barrier fruit, this is a great argument, I think, is Higurashi was the one to first obtain it. So pause and quick correction here at the crux of my argument. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, I make a big boo-boo here. I make a big mistake. Higurashi Kurozumi is not the one, of course, with the Bari Bari no Mi. She had Bon Clay's fruit. So the argument still stands. It was Kurozumi Semimaru who had the Bari Bari no Mi. So either way, the argument and all the facts that I state throughout the rest of this video will still be accurate to the argument. However, I keep making this mistake with the naming scheme. I keep referring to Higurashi when I should have been saying Semimaru. So I know some people will take this as evidence that this theory is bogus, but no, I think the argument still stands, and it was just poor editing and misremembering on my part. So on with the video. In Wano, still referred to it as the Bari Bari. Now, here's the key problem with that. It just so happens to be the Bari Bari. It couldn't have been called, oh, I don't know, the Shield. the dome, the block, the wall. Every single time we have seen a devil fruit, and we haven't seen it too often, but every single time we see a devil fruit reincarnated and somebody else used the powers, the name has stayed the same. Even people in Wano with no knowledge of devil fruits have that. They just know it's some mythical power. They think it's a jutsu. They think it's ninjutsu. You know, they think they're living in Naruto. But somehow, the naming scheme, they don't call it, I will use my barrier jutsu. No. They say, my body jutsu. They still keep the naming scheme with no knowledge of devil fruits and anything about the book or anything. So given this fact, I think that my initial theory on VC was correct, and I just wanted to make a video about that. Because now we are begging the question. A lot of the main YouTubers believed it for years. Tekking himself, Roger, King of Lightning, they've all brought this up, that they all believed this. We've believed this for years. And now all of a sudden it seemingly has been flipped on its head, and now we have no idea. And some people are even arguing that this is bad because it's a bit of a retcon. How could he not know he was a mythical zone? How could he not know this? How could Luffy not know this stuff while all the other characters seemingly without any more information than Luffy ever had after eating the Gummy Gummy no Mi is completely uninformed and everybody else, and now everyone's bringing up the theories, okay, the Yami Yami no Mi, Blackbeard's fruit isn't really Blackbeard's fruit, the Maramara is not the Maramara, the Buddha fruit isn't really the Buddha fruit, like everyone's saying, oh, well now what's going on, right? So the big thing here to me is that I don't believe that. I still believe that our original interpretation of the SBS, I forget which number it is, but I'll probably pull it up here, the original SBS with the question about Kaku's devil fruit and stuff, when Rob Lucci gave the 2 devil fruits, basically said it was sort of lukewarm, and I'll admit the translation is a little suspect, but it sounded like they will find out the name of the fruit by eating it. They won't know until they eat it. These are not recorded in the encyclopedia. They don't know what powers they're going to get, and when they ate them, they knew them. So that's what we've been assuming this entire time, and I still think that that is still the case. I think everybody's initial theory about that, or almost confirmed theory, was that when you bite a devil fruit, you know the name. The big thing here is Luffy does not know it because the Hito Hito no Mi mythical zone model Nika was hiding its own name even from its own user to keep itself safe. To keep itself safe, to try to evade the world government, to basically do, as I said at the beginning of the video, what the One Ring was attempting in reverse. Instead of getting to somebody, they're trying to get away from somebody. And what's the best way to do that? As I said, there could be multiple reasons behind this. But if we're to believe that these zone fruits, with powers of literal gods, confirmed, have a will of their own, the capacity to apparently mentally tell you exactly what your devil fruit is, I would argue that the devil fruit can also lie to its user. It's just a theory. Oh, game, no. But it's just a theory of mine. But I think it holds a lot of weight because that way we still have no problem. If this is the case, there's more evidence, because if this is not the case, we have a bit of a problem. We actually do have a bit of retconning issues here. Because how did any of the samurai or ninjas in Wano just so happen to use the exact same writing schemes and the exact same names used later on in future fruits with zero knowledge of devil fruits? And it just so happens that the pirates that ate them again happened to use the same naming scheme. Every pirate, every marine, every person with a devil fruit around the One Piece world. Some completely isolated like Wano, some with no knowledge of the devil fruits really whatsoever, and they're so rare like in the East Blue, and they all have the same name. They all use the same naming scheme. You know, Blackbeard doesn't just show up and say, I have the power of void. I have void magic. He doesn't call it void magic. Akainu doesn't say, I have the volcano powers. No, he's got, you see what I'm saying? He's got magma, you know? Like, nobody changes the name. And everybody seemingly knows the name. And everybody uses the same naming scheme. And the whole model thing, you know? So, I think that my initial theory on the VC was correct. and this will be the end of the video here. I didn't want to make this like a big, huge 40-minute video by any stretch. But I think I've proven enough evidence that if we are to believe that this thing operates with a will of its own, which was confirmed, and has been hiding actively from the world government for 800 years, which is confirmed, then is it not entirely, and if we are to take now on the third, one of the most accepted facts that maybe is not a fact, I'll admit, that when you eat a devil fruit, you know the name instinctively, or it was mentally transmitted to your brain, however you want to look at it. If we take these factors into account, it's entirely possible that this fruit simply lied to Luffy. It's got a will of its own. Why couldn't it lie to its user? Just saying. So I think that clears up. If that's the one case, it makes the most amount of sense within the confines of the story and all the information we currently have as of chapter 1044. And if it's not the case, and we take away that, no, we all read that SBS wrong, and we're all idiots, and we're all wrong, and Oda's never confirmed that, then we have a much bigger issue at play here. How the hell is everyone getting the exact same naming scheme and name in general correct throughout the four corners of the One Piece world, and it's never incorrect? See what I'm saying? You're causing more issues by denying the simple fact that devil fruit's been running and lying. You cause way more issues by saying, nope, that's not possible. There's no possible way it ever lied to Luffy. It's got a will of its own, and it could do that, but we're not going to accept that fact. Luffy's believed he's a paramecia the entire time as well. You know? Just saying. He confirmed himself. He goes, I'm not a zone user. So Luffy is not even aware that he's a zone user. But you're still going to allow me to believe. He said that in Punk Hazard to Momonosuke. He stated that he doesn't know because he's a devil fruit user but not a zone user. Luffy himself was not even aware that he was a zone user. And you're still going to tell me that the fruit didn't lie to him. I'm just saying, this makes the most amount of sense. It doesn't break anything for the last 20 years of One Piece. It keeps everything the same from what we know. We just know that these mythical zones are operating like the goddamn One Ring. And I'm totally fine with that because it's literally Nika, Buddha, a phoenix. These things are living people and creatures. You know, they're very much different from just the elements of Logias or the wackiness of Paramecius. We're actual living creatures and people and gods from what we understand. So, now granted, there could be a couple more, like people say in the Blackbeard theory, there could be a couple more fruits that operate in the same way that have lied to their user. Entirely possible. Though I don't think that it's actually that happened to Blackbeard. That'd be way too, since it happened to Luffy, it has to happen to Blackbeard. You know, I'm not a huge fan of that theory, but it's possible that other fruits throughout the story have done the exact same thing. Though I think in this case it's unique to the main character, it's unique to Luffy, it's got the connection to Joy Boy, Nika, the whole 9 yards. It just fits that it's the one exception. Luffy's the exception, not the rule. I like the idea. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you guys want more theory videos and discussion videos like this, let me know. I'm trying to expand the brand, so to speak, when I find the time, like today. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know what you think. Am I full of shit? Am I not taking things verbatim? Are there better theories out there than this? Are there better theories that still don't break the story from the knowledge we know, but are better than just it's lying to Luffy? You know, do we have a better theory out there? Let me know in the comment section down below. And like, comment, subscribe. As always, fourth and most importantly, definitely have a drink, but responsibly, as I always do. And we will see you guys back here next time for the next piece of One Piece. Looking forward to No Break. Chapter 1045 gonna be hitting, gonna be awesome. I know you guys are looking forward to it. I will definitely be reviewing it, so stay tuned for that, and we'll see you back here next time. Peace out.